North Carolina Vinyl Picker is back. Happy July 4th, everybody. God bless our troops. Gonna go and see some fireworks later, hopefully. That's the plan. Have a couple of hot dogs, maybe a hamburger, some barbecue, and yeah, go see some fireworks. Looking forward to that. But right now, we got 50 albums in a day for 50 days, and we're working on that. And I have one here from last night that I didn't show you, and the guy's name is Alan J. Lerner. MGM presents GG. We got double GG. Got double GG. One's in mono, one's in stereo. If you see these here, I'm going to tell you here just a second what the significance is and why North Carolina Vinyl Picker, aka Big Chief, why I'm collecting these. I've only found two in the wild. But on this Pink Floyd album called Ummagumma, right down here next to, by the feet of David Gilmour there, this here will be the album Gigi. On the original, when it was first originally made, the album was made, and then they were pulled because they got in trouble about the, probably from Lerner and Lowe, about the Gigi. So they pulled it and they just built it in, just made it white, kind of like the Mamas and the Papas with the toilet when they just made it, they just covered it up, kind of similar to that. So if you see, I think the recent pressings, the latest pressings of these, they put the GG back. But if you get an original, this one here is a Harvest, and I thought it was an OG, but apparently it's not, because I believe that the OGs have the GG. Let me know down below what you think about that, or if you've heard about that. I had a lot of good comments about my 50 albums yesterday, starting at the beginning, going to 50. So today we're going from 51 to 100 in my collection, and we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday with the A's. Then we're going to continue on into my B's. And then I've already filtered through these. I've already checked them all. They're all in Discogs. Did all that last night. Made sure there was no extra inserts in there. The paper inserts, sleeves. The old ones, sometimes they're gray, sometimes they're like smoky. Like this, it came from a house that had a lot of cigarette smoke going on. And I just throw those in the trash. I don't even keep those. If I run across any albums that got a little bit of mold or something on them, if I can't clean them up, those are going to go too. And I'm just trying to do a complete cleanup of these records. It's been a year that I've been collecting. I've been going out and finding stuff up here in North Carolina. I've been out looking and pounding the pavement, so to speak, trying to bring stuff to the table. I'm still going to go ahead and I'm still going to look in the flea markets and antique malls and stuff like that, and thrift stores, but just not as much. I have a list of about 40 records that I want to get this year. I'm probably not going to end up getting them all this year. It may go into next year, but these are records that I want to get. So let's go ahead and get back into this. I've already killed 4 minutes, so thank you for all my new subscribers. I see that I lost a couple, but you lose a couple, you gain a couple, you move on. I just don't want to, I want to let everybody know that I'm still going to be the North Carolina Vinyl Picker. I'm still going to be out looking for records. I'm just doing a special right now where I'm going through my collection, and then I'm going to be also going and spending my hard-earned dollars on stuff that I really want, rather than bring in a bunch of stuff that I'm going to have to sell. And what I'm doing is if I find doubles and stuff, I'm putting them in the other room. I'm going to box them up. If you get the medium boxes from U-Haul, they work perfect. That's what I moved all my records up here with. And so if you put them in those boxes, they works out great. And then I'm going to take them to the local flea market here, probably in the fall. And I'm going to try to sell them. I'm going to make like a $1 box, a $5 box, and then, you know, a more expensive box of records. And I know they'll sell, because I'm going to make sure they're all looking real good before I bring them up there. And if if I have a dollar box, so those will be ones that will sell just for $1. So here we go. We're going to go with this Ambrosia album, and this is called Life Beyond LA. I'm probably going to give this a listen. I'm probably just going to keep the first 2 Ambrosia albums. This one here may get purged. So, but I'll let you know on that one. This one here, I don't believe they had any, I don't know if they had any hits on there. They would, they'd be like the first song on side A. That's usually the banger. That's usually the best song on the album. They'll put it first. So there you go. Life Beyond LA. Anybody have any thoughts on this album? I know the first 2 albums are really good. This one here, they're kind of falling off a little bit. Anderson, Wakeman, Bruford Howe. I found this one in Morganton at a record store. I was glad to get it. I think I paid $5. This was during the time of CDs. So this one here wasn't an easy one to find, but they're out there. And this was Arista released. And this is what John Anderson and the boys were doing when they couldn't name themselves Yes. So they went ahead and did Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. This is when Yes had East Coast Yes and West Coast Yes. And Chris Squire was doing his own thing. Then we go give Andreas Vollenheimer. I don't know if any of you guys and gals know, but I do like Andreas Vollenheimer. If you get a chance, listen to his music. If you like, he plays the electric harp. It's just over the top, great stuff. New Agey, yeah, New Agey, definitely. It's on the CBS there label. This is his first album. I have all of them, the early ones. We'll go run through these real quick. This one here is called Caverna Magana, Under the Tree and in the Cave. It's also on that it's on that green. It's on that green CBS. How about this one here, Pese Verde, Music for Living Beings. And this is a EP, long play EP from this past album I just showed you. White Winds. Now this is going into a little bit more of a prog. His next couple, he gets a little proggy going on here. This is a great album, White Winds, and that's on. Change the label up a little bit. Here we got Dancing with the Lion. Down to the Moon, probably my favorite of his albums. If you want one album to listen to that starts you listening to Andreas Vollenheimer, get this one right here, Down to the Moon. I think you'll really enjoy it. And then we're going to switch into Andrew Gold. What's wrong with this picture? Andrew Gold, of course, was on the Asylum Records, and he had Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks were all involved. This was the West Coast, the time in the 70s when all of these bands were all intermingling with each other. And it's a good album. Definitely going to be keeping my Andrew Gold. I have 2 of his records. This is his other one. It's called Whirlwind. Again, this is an Asylum. And these have, this one here is mastered by Doug Sachs. I know a lot of people in the vinyl community are all into that mastering thing. So there you go. Doug Sachs mastered this one. And these are a couple good albums. Those will probably stay in the collection for now. Then we got Jesus Christ Superstar. Ian Gillan from Deep Purple and Peter Robinson from Quartermass were on this record. If you are of a certain age, you will know this album. Came out in 1970-ish. And I can remember this being popular when I was back in school. So if anybody hasn't heard this album, give it a listen. You can stream it. But Ian Gillan is on this record. If you're a Deep Purple fan, you might enjoy Jesus Christ Superstar. And then Andrew Lloyd Webber did this album. This one here is called Variations. This is a really cool album. It's got a variety of people on this album. It's got Don Airey, I think, who was also in Deep Purple. Rod Argent's on this. John Heisman from Coliseum. Gary Moore is on this record. Great variations. They do some Baroque. This is more progressive rock, though. So if you get a chance, give that a listen. If you can find it. That's not an easy one to find. You can look this one up. Try to find that. Show you that one more time. Variations. Andrew Lloyd Webber. All right. We got through the first bunch there. Put these down here. Okay. You know I like the Bee Gees. Here's a little Andy Gibb. This one here has got Shadow Dancing on it. I have a couple of Barry Gibb's albums too. Here's another one, his, After Dark. I do like me some Andy Gibb. How about the Animals? This one here is Animalism. Found this one in the thrift store. I think I only paid 33 cents for them. They're in pretty good shape. Sometimes you get records and you put them in your collection and you use them just for a filler, someplace to hold the record for now until you can find a better one. There's Animalism. I can start putting them over here. Here's Animalization. Another Animals album. This is another 33 center. This one here has got a little bit of scratching going on. This one here will be a place card until I find a better one. Annie Haslam from Renaissance. We're still in the A's. She did Moonlight Shadow on here, which was a Mike Oldfield song, but she redid it. And she made a few solo records, but she is still the lead singer for Renaissance. Annie Haslam. Great album. Haven't heard it in a while. Need to play that. Then we're going to Anthony Phillips. Anthony Phillips was the original guitar player for Genesis. This is The Geese and the Ghost. And this was his first solo album he did after leaving Genesis. He left after Trespass, and that's when they hired Steve Hackett and Phil Collins for Nursery Crime. Anthony Phillips albums are really good. This one here it sounds just like a Genesis album would from back in the day. Very melodic, a lot of time signatures, 12-string guitar. Mike Rutherford's on this. Phil Collins is on that album. Here's another Anthony Phillips album called Sides. I need to get Wise After the Event. That's another album I need to get of his. There's Sides. That's another good album by Anthony Phillips. Tony Williams. The reason why Discogs has this one here, has it in here as Anthony Williams. So that's why it's in the A's. But you'll see the rest of his collection I have of him later on in when I do my next batch down the road. Yeah, so Anthony Williams. Everybody knows Tony Williams. He's a remarkable, gifted drummer, jazz drummer. Made a lot of records. He was on a lot of people's albums as well. Even Miles Davis, I believe. He's played with John McLaughlin. He's played with Al Di Meola. He's played with Paco. He's played with everybody. And he died relatively young. Anthony Williams. Or Tony Williams. James Brown Show. This album here is scratched all the beat. You know what. It looks like it was almost drugged down by a truck. But I keep it as a placeholder. It's a pretty rare album, actually. It goes for quite a bit of money. But this one here wouldn't be worth much because it's not in very good condition. What we got next? Artland. Red Lanta. I listened to this album about a month ago. It's really good. And it's coming out the bottom here, as you can tell. And it's an ECM record. Whenever I see an ECM record or Windham Hill record, I pick them up. I don't know I didn't know who Artland was, but the album is good. It's pretty mellow, but it's really good. It's good jazz, new age. What else we got here? Okay, we got our Satchel. We just talked about our Satchel not too long ago. Has Steve Hillage on here, Gong. And then he went on to do some other stuff. He did Khan, which will come up here. And, yeah. If you can find this album, pick it up. I seen somebody the other day, they found a copy, a used copy for them and paid a couple dollars for it. That's incredible. I paid $35 for this one. But you can get them. This is an Italian pressing of our Satchel. How about Audience, The House on the Hill? They have two great albums that I've found so far. Ron Baldry was the one who showed me this album first. I first saw it on his show, so I had to find it, and then I did, and I think I picked it up for like $5 here, close by the house. But it's definitely got some prog to it. It's more, it's rock also and pop, and it's got a lot of different things going on. But there is some prog elements to this album. I think Rachel has shown this album too. And then I was in a antique mall one day, and I seen this album by Audience. And this is Nostalgia, Reflection. This has got the famous Charisma label, the Genesis label. So there you go. Audience. Still in the A's. How about Aviator? Haven't played this in a while. It has Jack Lancaster on here and a couple other players that are on this album. Mick Rogers is on it. Clive Bunker. John G. Perry is on this album. Some of those names you recognize. This is, I want to say 79, but it sounds like 80s almost. It's getting towards the 80s where they have that 80s sound. So, I'm keeping it for because I really like the artists that are on it, but I'm really not crazy about the album. And I found these two albums, starting with the Bees. Here we go. Babe Ruth. I found these for $5 a piece, and the guy was selling them, and they looked like they hardly were ever played. I'll have to give them another listen. They're more of a rock band. I don't really hear too much prog going on, so I'm not sure if these will stay or these will go. Well, time will tell. So I may be bringing these to the flea market come this fall. How about Babylon? Babylon is a band that's neo-prog band. It came out during the time of like 12th Night and Marillion and the neo-prog era in the 80s when maybe people thought prog was dead. But they weren't. It wasn't dead, and then they had a resurgence. And this was one of the bands that came along in the resurgence, and they're called Babylon. And they're from southern Florida. They're from Florida. I was able to find this record in Florida before I left. I've been listening to this record for a long, long time. I got some Bad Companies. We got Straight Shooter. Everybody knows these records. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. And we got Burning Sky. First album I bought, I didn't check it, and when I got it home, it was Warped, the very first album. So when you go to I found that was in a flea market. So make sure you check them before you leave. Don't be paying for something you can't play. I mean, it had a bad warp. You got Run with the Pack. And Desolation Angels. And that's the end of my Bad Company. I had, like I say, I had 5, but I had to find the first album again. And this is an album called Bonko. This is the band Bonko, and this is an Italian progressive band. This is a USA release. It's fairly easy to find. I found it in a thrift store in Florida before I left down there. And the girl they had a table of thousands of records, and I went through probably 3/4 of them. They were all, she said, I asked how much they were, and she said that they were all $5 a piece. So I saw Bonko, and I said, oh, I want that. So I have all their music on CD as well as PFM. Their albums are hard to find here in the States, and if you get them online, you're going to pay, between $25 and $50 a piece for them. They're pretty expensive. Okay, then we're going to go to the band. Music from the Big Pink. This is an OG Capitol. This one here is in bad shape. It only has 2 of the 3 records, and this one here will probably go in the cheap bin when I sell my records in the fall at the flea market. I'll probably put this in there and put on here 2 of 3 records and put maybe $5 on it or something. We'll see. But I'll probably won't keep this one in the collection. I'm going to try to find a better copy of that album. And then we got the album self-titled, the band. And these are at the end because these are newer pressings. Yeah, great album. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that album. My records keep falling over. Stage Fright. This is the last one I have of theirs. I wouldn't mind getting a few more of them. I like the band. I've always liked their music. What we got next? Oh, Barbra Streisand. Because Barry Gibb is with her, and I love the Bee Gees, so there you go. I don't have any other Barbra Streisand album, but I think back in the day, I want to say when I was in high school, I think I had another album of hers where she's in a Superman, like a tight fitting jumpsuit or something. That wasn't too bad of an album. Maybe if I ever see it for $1. How about some Barclay James Harvest? This album here is called Everybody is Everybody Else. Everyone is Everybody Else. This is a good album. This is a prog band. They're folky and prog, kind of like Steel Ice Band or the Strawbs or Pentangle, Barclay James Harvest. Another one of those bands where they kind of intermingle prog and folk. And it's a good album. That's the only album I have of theirs. Barry Gibb. Found this album recently. I think they had $3 on it, and I picked it up. I haven't listened to it yet, but I do like the Bee Gees, so when I saw this was a no-brainer. This was a gift from my son last year. This is Barry Gibb, In the Now. This album's very good. It's album's about 5 years old. It's what Barry Gibb's doing now. And he still has his voice, and he has his falsetto voice, and he still has his, he sings in different octaves. But, yeah, it's a good album. Barry Maguire. We're still on the B, so we're into Barry's. This one had some shrink on it. I just tore it off recently. Eve of Destruction. This album here is definitely from the 60s. And it was like during the Vietnam War. There was a lot of protest songs and stuff. And Barry Maguire was in on that. So I ended up finding this album for like $2 or $3. And I like to show you the old ones. It's pretty good shape. Had that shrink on there. It was bending the record pretty bad, the cover and stuff. So I got rid of it. Took the shrink off of there. Bebop Deluxe. I bought the album just for the cover. No, not really. I bought the album because the cover intrigued me, but there's a lot of writing on here. Some radio station, WJRH maybe? WJRH. And some of the DJs wrote on there and stuff. Happy Hippie probably knows all about that. It's got the hole punched out in here, and Starburst finished. I listened to the album. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not really progressive. It's more power pop or in that vein, like 10cc, that type of music. I'll probably keep the album. I like the album. It's on that Harvest label that Kate Bush was on. So there you go. What we got here? Oh, we're going to start talking about the Beatles. Rachel's favorite. Meet the Beatles. Here's a pretty good copy of Meet the Beatles. I'm not sure where I found this one at, but Beatles albums are out there in the wild. You can find them from, it's not too bad a shape. You can find them for in the bargain bins for $5, and you can pay up to thousands of dollars for Beatles records, depending on what you want to get. Here's another album by the Beatles, something new. And these look like they're old, pretty good. I don't know if these might be 70s represses. I'm not a real aficionado on the Beatles. So, Amazing Beatles, another great English group, Sounds. Found this one in a flea market, in a thrift store, Habitat for Humanity, down there in Morganton, close to where I reside. And this album's in pretty good shape. It has some nicks, some scuffs, some scratches on it, but these were like $3 a piece. This one and the next one, so I picked them up, and then I don't know if I'll be keeping those or not. I'm probably just going to keep the Beatles albums that are. Well, this one I'm definitely keeping. There's a Revolver. It's got the green label on it. Magical Mystery Tour. Definitely keeping this. I have to pick up Sgt. Pepper. I don't have Sgt. Pepper. Beatles 67 to 70. This was also got at the same place. I think I got this one for $5. But again, it's got some hairline scratches and whatnot. So I'm not sure if that one will be staying. How about some Beck, Bogert, and a piece? We're talking about Jeff Beck, Tim Bogart, and Carmen Apiece. This is a really good album. If you like rock, garage rock, jazz fusion, you get kind of all blends together here. And this is there's a lot of people out there that know this record, and I picked it up for $1, and it's in nice shape. It's got a few scratches on it, but it's got that textured cover. So this will work until I find something better. 2 left. Only got 2 left for tonight. How about the Bee Gees? Rare, Precious, and Beautiful. We got a lot of Bee Gees records to look at. So tomorrow night's show, I'll be showing lots of Bee Gees. So give you a heads up. If you like the Bee Gees, tomorrow night's the one. So these ones here, these two, I'll show these together. They were different color. I think I found these found one of them in a thrift store. I think I found the other one at a record show. This one has a cutout, you can see. So yeah, one's a volume. This is volume 1, and the purple one is volume 2. So that's all of that. And that's all for today. That's 50 records. 50 records in 30 minutes. I'm trying to, that's about what the going time is, seems like. Tomorrow night we'll pick up with the 101 and go to 150. So I got to pull another 50 out of here. Go through them, make sure they're all cool, make sure that they're all cleaned up. And actually now I'm taking a look at some of these and saying which ones I'm going to pull and which ones I'm not going to pull. But yeah, so I'm going to go to U-Haul and get those boxes and then box them up. That way I'm ready to go in the fall when I got to separate them out into different price range. Y'all take care out there. Be safe. Don't blow any fingers off. Make sure if you're doing the fireworks tonight to have a bucket of water and keep the little kids away from the flying projectiles and stuff. Be careful with them sparklers. God bless our troops. My daughter's on the front line of defense, so keep her in your prayers. And we'll talk to you soon. And North Carolina, pick her out.